Hi guys, here is some feedback regarding the Understanding SACE Term 1 video that I made earlier on in the term, otherwise known as a reflection, where I try and answer some of the questions that you asked me in the survey. The first question I was asked or came across was, why do I gain SACE points if I fail an elective subject? Short answer, because of SACE. SACE is a bit of a funny thing, but long story short, SACE is reviewing this in the future, but for now, as 2019 or 2018 students for that matter, you may be awarded your 10 SACE credits for one semester for a non-compulsory elective subject, so long as you show evidence of learning for a subject. This translates to you attending all your lessons and attempting all the assessment tasks set by your subject teacher. Another question commonly asked was, what is the point system for Stage 1, Year 11, and Stage 2, Year 12 again? Once again, SACE is a credit-based qualification, whereby students need to gain at least 200 credits to be awarded their SACE certificate. A 10-credit subject consists of approximately 60 hours of program teaching and learning time. It is generally considered to be a one-semester or half-year subject. This is why your 10-credit Year 11 subjects change at the end of the semester. Alternatively, you may continue on in the second half of the semester with the same subject but complete different assessment tasks. Overall, you are working towards completing 20 credit subjects which continue for the entire year and approximately double the amount of hours, 120, and are considered to be a full year teaching subject. These are known as your Stage 2 subjects. Another question, or rather comment, that popped up in the survey was some students admitting that they think that they failed PLP in Year 10. If you believe for some reason that you have failed this compulsory Stage 1 subject that you complete in Year 10, please make sure that you speak to me, but beforehand, check your Year 10 report to make sure that you have received a C or above. You can check your reports by entering your DAYMAP using the My Portfolio tab and clicking Reports and downloading your report. Once again, if you have any inclination, check it out, but you should have been contacted, and you can always speak to me to make sure that this is resolved. Another question that appeared was, what is an ATAR? Your ATAR is your Australian Tertiary Admissions Rank. It is essentially a score that is your ticket, so to speak, into South Australian universities and those interstate. You will receive your ATAR if you achieve 90 credits in Stage 2. This is 90 credits from your 200 SACE credits that will help gain your SACE. Stage 2 subjects, therefore, then equal 20 credits as they are a full year subject. If we were to do some basic maths, if you complete Stage 2 subjects and complete 4 of them, you would receive 80 credits. Now remember that your research project is also a Stage 2 subject that you complete in one semester, therefore you gain 10 credits. If we add this up, your ATAR can equal your 4 Stage 2 subjects plus your research project score, which equals 90 credits. We also have to remember that some VET courses that are Cert 2 and Cert 3 can be accredited to your Stage 2 SACE and ATAR. Just make sure that you're in conversation with Mr. Harrington regarding this. You should also note that your ATAR can be made up of any 5 recognised Stage 2 subjects, which does not have to include your research project. This is why some students who study Stage 2 subjects in Year 11 have a bit of a head start. Another question that appeared was for those students who are already studying one or more Stage 2 subjects. As mentioned, this simply means that you have a bit of a head start on meeting your compulsory 90 Stage 2 out of your 200 SACE credits required to not only gain your SACE but be eligible for an ATAR ranking. During subject selection next year, you will still choose the required amount of Stage 2 subjects, but negotiate with Mr. Stapleton and the school the number and amount. Many Year 12s who are completing Year 12 this year actually still study 3 minimum Stage 2 subjects even though they completed 2 or more last year. This is to help them have the advantage of having a high ATAR calculated on their best 5 subjects for Stage 2. For instance, some students actually repeated Stage 2 biology because they received a B, but this year they're hoping for an A. This is to help them achieve their best result overall. You might also be wondering, how do I calculate my ATAR and what is scaling? Long story short, your ATAR is derived from your score you receive out of 20 for each of your Stage 2 subjects. Each grade is then added to a form and an overall percentage is given. A percentile distribution is then determined based on the subjects that you choose and also the success of the overall year across the entire state. To be honest, this can be quite confusing, and there are a number of documents on the SATAC website which help explain calculating the aggregate for an ATAR and scaling. However, it is important to note that this information will be provided near the end of Term 3, but also that SATAC automatically calculate your ATAR so you don't have to, and regardless of the scaling, it is always best to choose the top 4 or 5 Stage 2 subjects that you believe you will achieve your highest grade in, and will enjoy, of course. Another common question or statement made on the survey was, what's the point of it all, whether it be your SACE or ATAR? In honesty, this is up to you and the decisions that you make from this point onwards. Whether you wish to study at a local university such as Flinders University, the University of South Australia, or the University of Adelaide, it's up to you as to how hard you work towards achieving your SACE and ATAR to gain entry into those universities. Likewise, you need to meet certain requirements to gain access to TAFE SA, but also to gain full-time employment through various options such as SEEK. Another note is that your SACE and ATAR can also help you gain entry into exchange student programs within the universities if you wish to study overseas. Furthermore, if you're wishing to become an apprentice, your SACE and ATAR will help gain the qualifications or at least be recognised by your future employer. Some students have asked whether or not the subjects they choose in Year 12 impact on their university choices. To some extent, yes, as some courses have what is known as prerequisites. A prerequisite is a specific subject that a student must achieve a certain minimum grade in order to be eligible for selection and entry into a nominated course or program at university level. The goal is to consider which pathway or university course you might like to apply for next year and be aware as to whether they have prerequisites. One way to find out if a course or program has a prerequisite is to use the SATAC Online Course Search program. The link to this course search will be provided in the video description below. It's also important to note though that course searches do vary depending on the year and the level or impact of the university. In addition to this, it is good to know whether a course that you may wish to nominate at the end of Year 12 has assumed knowledge. Assumed knowledge is the background knowledge a student gains from completing their SACE at either Stage 1 or Stage 2 and have the identified skills that may be gained through previous study that is expected to be able to be completed during their university study. Assumed knowledge is not a compulsory or rather like a prerequisite decided upon or going to impact dramatically on your course selection. However, it is advised that you know or have this assumed knowledge. Many students who do not have this assumed knowledge may complete post-secondary courses before they go into that course at university. One way to understand whether or not a course has assumed knowledge and to have a better understanding as to how important this knowledge might be is to use the SATAC Online SATAC Guide to Undergraduate Courses for 2019, which can also be accessed using the provided link in this video. If you're still not too sure or want to have a quick shortcut look at the various courses for the local universities such as Flinders University, Uni SA or the Adelaide University, you can always access the Tertiary Entrance SATAC book. As you can see on the right hand side, an example is noted below. For instance, if I was a student wishing to study engineering at Flinders University in specifically the degree of Energy and Advanced Materials, I can see that there are nil or no Stage 2 subject prerequisites, but there is the assumed knowledge that I would know about mathematical methods and physics. Remembering that prerequisites are required, assumed knowledge is assumed knowledge or rather background information that would benefit the student who undertakes that course. Another question that appeared during the survey was why do some schools provide study lines to students who do not study VET or offline courses like they do at Seaview? Long story short, each school has a different sets of rules. As a South Australian school, there are requirements though relating to the hours required of you to be on site and accounted for with regards to attendance. It is true that some study lines provided to Year 12s in other schools may be considered home study, but is often based on a student's progress in that school. Until CVU makes any significant changes, this study line process will not change. Another question, or rather statement, that was made during the survey was, what study skills have we been taught? To be frank, study skills are often subject-based and should have been taught within the subject, or continue to be. This can relate to how to learn for an exam in biology, how to complete a certain equation in maths for an upcoming test, or simply how to write a structured paragraph in English. Study habits may also relate to time and organisation, which is tried to be reinforced using the CVU High School Diary. This is something that you would have been able to have access to since Year 8. To an extent, we will reflect on this throughout the rest of the year to ensure that your study habits are the best that they can be in preparation for Year 12. Another common concern, question, or focus was that some of you are worried about not passing or gaining your numeracy compulsory for maths this semester. My immediate suggestion is to make sure that you are always in communication with your subject teacher to discuss current concerns, whether it be an assignment or upcoming exam, especially if you're away for vet or are missing a number of lessons. Where possible, you should try to attend homework club where there is a support available for math students every day of the week. You could also consider thinking about forming your own study group for 20 minutes after school or lesson to ensure that where possible you are learning from your other students. The number one suggestion is to not give up, but to always try your hardest and to make sure that you're doing your best to achieve that C or above grade. Another common concern or question and focus was, how do I know which subjects to pick in Year 12? My immediate suggestion would be to speak to your subject teachers about possible pathways relating to the subject, but to review the SATAC materials mentioned previously in this video. You can also talk to your parents and guardians about your possible pathways and universities that you might wish to study at, so you can make an attempt to visit the universities on open day to get a better sense of the subjects and courses that they have available. At the end of the day, it's important to remain calm and feel good knowing that because you are concerned, you're going to make the right decisions regardless because you're already thinking about your future. At the end of the day, it's important to remember that your future pathway may change. What subjects you choose won't define you for the rest of your life or whatever career you decide to endeavour. You may choose the wrong subjects but gain experience and a high score to boot from them either at stage 2 or university level. You may alternatively decide to defer once you finish Year 12, change courses midway through, or stop studying altogether throughout your degree. Statistically, a person will change careers at least 3 times in their life, and there are a number of opportunities to re-enter university, defer, or simply change courses based on your previous study. So long as you want to learn, you have the opportunity to learn. And on a final note, can I just say well done? You're a quarter of the way there, having completed Term 1. With regards to where we're heading for the rest of pastoral care, next term we'll be looking at well-being. But this also means that we'll be looking at resources relating to subject selection, study habits and time management, your overall well-being in terms of mental health and stress, and also university pathways and opportunities. When possible, can you please take a moment to complete the linked Microsoft form regarding your Term 1 results so I can further improve feedback and provide further resources for the remainder of the year? Thank you.